It's my
Not using the speakers.
It wasn't. I think it was the same problem. I couldn't. Okay, I think we're all set, Mr. Malkin.
Oh, I got promoted. I'm a mister now. Okay. All right, I'd like to call this meeting to order. Steamship Authority Board meeting on the 22nd of September. We have some announcements to read as now the new usual. I'd like to inform everyone that Steve Batty of All Media Productions is making a video and audio recording of today's meeting in public session for the Martha's Vineyard Community Television, also known as MVTV. Also like to inform everyone that Sean Driscoll, the Authority's Communications Director, is making an audio and video recording of today's meeting. Is there anyone else making a recording of today's meeting? If so, please identify yourself by pressing the raise your hand icon, or if you're joining by phone, press *9 on your keypad. And when you're recognized, please state your name for the record. Thank you. Anyone recording?
Yep, Rich.
Hi, Rich from the MV Times.
Thank you. And Louisa?
Yes, I am recording to the best of my ability. But I also have to leave the room and go to another meeting. So
Right.
Wish me luck and have a good meeting.
That's Louisa Hofstetter from the Vineyard Gazette. That's all I see. Thank you.
All right, I'd like to read a further statement concerning remote participation. In response to Governor Baker's executive orders concerning the necessity to conduct public meetings in line with social distancing guidelines during the current state of emergency involving COVID-19, all board members are participating remotely in today's meeting because their physical attendance today would be unreasonably difficult. All board members are participating in the meeting by the Zoom video conferencing app, and all members will be clearly audible to each other. As a result of the members' remote participation in this meeting, any and all votes taken by the members today shall be by roll call vote. And with that, we can go to our board meeting agenda. And the first item is minutes of the prior joint board port council meeting on June 3rd meeting in public session and June 16th meeting in public session. Any comments or additions, deletions, modifications to the minutes as presented? Is there a motion to accept?
I'll make a motion to accept.
Thank you.
We might have to split this because I can't vote on the June 3rd meeting because I wasn't in attendance.
Good point. In that case, we're going to put the June 3rd meeting vote on hold until such time as we have the appropriate quorum to vote on them. That takes care of the June 3rd. Is there a motion to accept the meetings, the minutes of the prior meeting as discussed? The June 16th meeting.
I'll make that motion.
And I'll second that.
Thank you. The motion's been made and seconded. If there's any discussion, fine. If not, it comes to a vote. All in favor?
Randy, aye.
Wilson, I.
Malkin, aye. Thank you very much. Port Council report on the 9th.
Ed is in the audience. I'm going to bring him right over.
Thank you.
Good morning, everybody.
Hi, Ed.
Morning, Ed.
Morning, Ed.
I'm joining you from the port's offices, which are open now. So we're excited, although socially distanced still. So thank you for having me. So I'll go over we had our meeting on the 9th of September. There was a lot of detail, which I'm sure you guys will all go through today, especially with the COVID updates, just operational updates, and the project updates. We did go into detail on some of the e-news changes that Sean is leading. And we talked a little bit about the draft budget, which is going to be coming a little bit later this year to have time to digest the changes in terms of operations and what the impacts that will have to the budget. The only vote that we had everything else was for the most part informational. The only vote we had was we approved unanimously the Veterans Day promotion, and so that passed 6-0. And that was pretty much it. Happy to take any questions from you all.
No, thank you very much for that. That, having listened in, that pretty much was a very concise presentation of what happened. And thank you. And by the way, nice new haircut.
Thank you. This is my first time going back to a professional. My wife did a really good job for 6 months, but she's happy to hand the reins back over to Manny. So.
That's great.
That was probably the shortest Port Council summary I've ever heard.
Hey, brevity is my thing. That's what I'm good at.
I love it. Nice job, Ed.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks very much, Ed. Appreciate it. Enjoy the new digs.
Thank you.
General Manager's report, Mr. Davis.
Okay. Yep. We sent out an update. So. Okay.
We're standing by.
Yep. Sean sent it out this morning.
Is that
Sorry.
tomorrow?
Yep. That was Ms. Tierney. She's logging in.
We see her office.
As we speak, so. I don't know whether you want to wait for her or.
No, here she comes.
Morning, everybody. Sorry about that.
Good morning, Moira.
Morning.
Good morning. We've just gone through the minutes and we went through the Port Council report, and Bob was going to take us into the first item of business, which I believe is the C Street request.
Right, thanks.
Right.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, do you want to go back to the minutes of June 3rd to get those clarified now that we.
It's a very good catch. Thank you very much. Moira, we were unable to vote on the minutes of June 3rd because Mr. Rainey didn't attend.
I think Ms. Tierney was there either.
Oh, well, there's a good point.
Okay, well, hold on.
Mr. Jones is joining us here.
Thank you very much.
Saved by the bell.
Exactly. And the ceiling.
Yeah, what's going on here?
Oh, there you are.
Really? Damn.
You got more handsome last night, huh?
We're attempting, Mr. Jones, to approve the minutes of the June 3rd meeting. And we need people who were there to vote on this with a quorum.
Yes, I was there. I'm in favor if you already started the vote.
Well, we had a motion from Ms. Wilson to accept the minutes, and then we ran out of votes, but we could do that now. So if you would second that motion, that would be great.
So done.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor? Roll call, please.
Wilson, aye.
Jones, aye.
And Malkin, aye. Thank you. There's your vote, Mr. Davis.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so the next item on the agenda is a request from C Street LLC for additional service. So on September 8th, C Street submitted a request to the Steamship Authority for an amendment to its remaining 2020 operating schedule from New Bedford, as well as a renewal of its overall license agreement for an unspecified term of years. Due to the timing of the request, staff did not have an opportunity to review C Street's request prior to the September 9th Port Council meeting. So staff is now recommending that the members only consider C Street's scheduling amendments concerning high-speed service from New Bedford solely through October 31st, 2020 at the present time. And that will allow additional time for review by the Port Council and then the board at their October meetings. The staff suggested the following two service changes by C Street be reviewed and considered at this time. That high-speed service from New Bedford to Vineyard Haven, but not Oak Bluffs, starting Tuesday, October 13th, 2020, the day after Columbus Day, on Mondays through Thursdays, with a departure from New Bedford at 6 a.m. and 3:15 p.m., and corresponding departures from Vineyard Haven to New Bedford at 7:15 and 4:30. And then on Fridays, the service would be expanded to include a 9:30 a.m. departure from New Bedford with a return trip from Vineyard Haven at 1 o'clock. The proposal further seeks to add one more trip on Saturdays and Sundays, departing New Bedford at 11 a.m. with a return at 2:30 p.m. It should be noted that the proposed 2:30 return on Saturdays and Sundays does conflict with the departure time of the MV Island home from Vineyard Haven. So we'll have to work out that scheduling more with C Streak if the members so choose to approve their proposal. The second portion of this is that C Streak is proposing service from New Bedford to Nantucket via Vineyard Haven, including pickup and drop off in Vineyard Haven along the way, beginning on Friday, October 16th. Then on Fridays at 9:30 departure from New Bedford, would also, that trip would continue on to Nantucket after it stops off in Vineyard Haven, with an arrival time of 11:30 over in Nantucket. That corresponds with the arrival time of the Eagle as well, so we'll have to coordinate that arrival, those arrivals that's there. The return trip from Nantucket on Fridays would depart at 11:45, arrival in Vineyard Haven at 12:45, and then a 1 p.m. departure heading to New Bedford for arrival at 1:50. On Saturdays and Sundays, the 11 a.m. departure from New Bedford would again add Nantucket as a destination with a proposed arrival time of 1 o'clock, and the return would be leaving at 1:15, with the arrival in Vineyard Haven at 2:15, a departure at 2:30. And as I pointed out, there was we do have a potential conflict with the arrival of the Eagle and C Streak service at 11:30 in Nantucket, but I think we can work that out. So we did receive correspondence from Highline. So the Inter-Island Service License Agreement is with Highline. They would ordinarily be discontinuing the Inter-Island Service come Columbus Day, and they forward us emails stating that they have no objection to allowing C Streak to pick up in Vineyard Haven and drop off in Nantucket if there is a market for that during this time period. So it's the staff's opinion that C Streak's request to amend its license agreement be approved by the members, but only to the extent that C Streak's scheduling amendment concerning high-speed services from New Bedford be approved through October 31st, 2020, with the further exceptions that C Streak's arrival times at 2:30 on Saturdays and Sundays in Vineyard Haven and 11:30 a.m. arrival time in Nantucket be either changed or amended to avoid conflicting arrival times with our own vessels. That's our recommendation.
Thank you. Any of the members have any discussion on this? Anybody have any questions? Anybody have a motion?
Can I make the motion since it's
Yeah.
the one thing that really impacts New Bedford on a regular basis? I'll make a motion that we vote to approve the changes as set forth in our materials and in Bob's rendition thereof.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion on the motion?
Is that motion consistent with staff's recommendation?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, the only question I had, Bob, they're talking about Vineyard Haven versus Oak Bluffs. Is that a weather-related issue?
We'll be closing down the Oak Bluffs terminal come Columbus Day, so.
Seasonality. Okay,
Yes.
great. Okay, no further discussion. We've got a motion that's made and seconded, comes to a vote. It needs to be roll call. All in favor?
Kearney, aye.
Aye.
Jones, aye.
Rainey, aye.
Malkin, aye. You have your vote, Mr. Davis.
Okay, thank you. We'll be coming back at next month's meeting for the remainder of the year.
Can I just make a comment for the record?
Yep.
Mr. Malcolm, please. I just wanted to comment that the cooperation between Highline and C Street is really a nice thing to have. They really have helped each other and been supportive of each other as their various needs have crossed. So, you know, we could, initially, when I first got on the board, it wasn't quite as simpatico as they are now, so it's nice.
Well,
Some
thank
good
you.
things that have come out of the pandemic.
In certain areas, yeah. Okay, Robert?
Okay, so next, update on COVID-19. I think since we last met, we did receive our order for 6 electrostatic sprayers along with a supply of hospital-grade disinfectant to be used by those machines. These sprayers are in addition to the backpack foggers that we had obtained earlier this summer and have incorporated into our daily cleaning regimen. These units dispense disinfectant along with a prolonged antimicrobial agent, which offers longer protection. Our crews, terminal workers, and bus operations continue to do an excellent job in cleaning. We continue to have nightly vessel crew members assigned to the vessels to perform cleaning of all the operating vessels. As of August 9th, we are operating the originally approved late summer operating schedules for both routes. This entails 4 triple crewed vessels operating 7 days per week on the Vineyard route, and 2 triple crewed vessels operating 7 days per week, plus 1 vessel operating with 2 single crews Monday through Friday on the Nantucket route. In addition, the MVINO is operating 4 trips daily with an additional late trip on Fridays and Sundays. So that's actually slightly different than the approved schedule on the INO. It was supposed to be running 5 trips daily. But at this point, we continue these service levels to continue through October 20th. As for preventative actions, as a reminder, the capacities on our buses has been reduced to 50% of the rating. I know that, however, the DOT rating for those vehicles allow us to carry standees, and as a result, on some of the models, we're allowed to carry, even at 50%, we're carrying more passengers than there necessarily are seats on board on the buses. But with the amount of staff that we have to be driving those buses, you know, it becomes there are some issues with full loads of up to 30 people getting on a bus at the same time. The capacities, meanwhile, continue to be reduced on our vessels to allow for social distancing. The reductions range from anywhere from 40 to 60% of the capacity, depending upon the vessel. As a result, we have reached passenger capacity on some of the busier travel trips, particularly on the Vineyard route on the weekends. There's been a number of trips that we're consistently reaching passenger capacity. So as people are traveling, they need to be cognizant of that they may not get on that first trip. It'll be this next trip. We continue our efforts to source cleaning materials, hand sanitizer, and the like. As you're aware, the lunch counters remain closed. We continue to be putting the best practices regarding health measures on our learning management system for our employees. We do continue to provide our vessel crews at the beginning of their watch a wellness screening by a trained medical professional. We are aware that that professional may not be able to continue that service too much longer because of other obligations that they have, but we'll continue to work with them. Meanwhile, our shoreside personnel are given a wellness questionnaire that they need to complete and submit. And most recently, we implemented non-contact thermal scanners in which the employees, as they are checking into work, will stand in front of. It takes their temperature, and if it's a high temperature, it alerts them that they need to contact their supervisor before reporting, and we have additional measures in terms of additional equipment to double check those temperatures. Most importantly, we continue to tell our employees that under no circumstances should they be coming in if they're sick. It's for their own safety, it's for the safety of their coworkers, it's the safety of our passengers, and it's the safety of their family members. So if they do show up and it's known to the supervisors, they are sending them home. Face coverings and masks compliance continues to be a challenge, to put it nicely. We continue to make announcements on the PA systems at the terminals. We have signs posted on the buses. The vessels are making multiple announcements about wearing masks, but we continue to receive reports of masks not being worn. One of the concerns was that during the summertime with the heat, people tended to drop them because of the heat. So maybe with the slightly cooler weather, hopefully we see an uptick here in the percentage of people wearing masks. If they're not wearing masks, we are asking them to go onto the exterior portions of the vessels. And I should point out in my discussions with some of the other ferry operators, not only in this region, but throughout the other regions of the country, this issue seems to be prevalent on industry-wide in terms of compliance with wearing masks. Since Governor Baker issued his requiring out-of-state visitors to self-quarantine or to have a negative COVID test within 72 hours of entering the state, we continue to send out emails on a daily basis to all customers traveling on island on how to register with the state. And then as we approach the beginning of October here, we'll be sending out a blast to all people who have October reservations as well. And Sean continues to update our coronavirus page on our website, along with our Facebook and Twitter accounts. We also are using the e-news as a method to be getting out the messages on what the best practices should be, requirements to be traveling with us. In regards to some future considerations, we continue to monitor the traffic patterns to see if there's any scheduling changes that are warranted. At this point, we don't foresee that through October 20th. We do consider what our vehicle reservations are, what commodities are being transported, passenger accessibility, social distancing, vessel availability, as well as the ability for us to continue to provide emergency services if called upon. So, and with that, I think Mark has some graphs if you want to get to that, or if you have any questions so far.
Excuse me, I have a question. Does anybody else have a question or comment? Well, following up on what Ms. Tierney mentioned at our last meeting, Terrence was going to look at denying passage to people who were not wearing masks. Have we followed up on that? Is question one. Question two, I do understand that this is a national problem, not only for ferries, but for other transport than institutions. But I'm certainly getting a lot of concern from parents of children who go to Falmouth Academy. I'm getting a lot of concern from people who see other folks without masks. I do know that many of our staff are trying very hard on this, and it's not a comfortable situation to be in, having been in them myself. But is there more that we can do? In the beginning, when this started, I believe, Bob, you mentioned having people without masks board last, being put into a different area or a different group, or denied passage. Is there more stringent measures that we can take?
Yep. So starting with the first one, Terrence, who's here, did research the ability for us to be denying passage to people without mask, and his review of that is that we cannot. As a public transportation, we cannot. We have to offer reasonable accommodations to those customers, and that reasonable accommodation is for them to be out on the outside weather decks or within a vehicle on the freight deck. Regarding the boarding, we continue to try to have people wearing masks, particularly in the summertime. It would be problematic for us to be setting up 2 queuing lines for people that had masks and don't have masks, particularly, some of these busier trips where we're cutting off we have passenger cutoffs, and which line ends up going first versus even if the arrival times of the individuals and the like. I think a lot of it is reminding not only of our employees but the customers to be donning their mask and wearing them while they're doing it. I think when that's being done, I think we're getting a higher percentage of compliance. There have been a couple instances where people have objected. I won't go as far as saying vehemently objecting, but they have objected to wearing masks. But I think overall we're getting a fairly consistent mask wearing. I know it's difficult, particularly for the employees on the front line. It only takes a moment for them to drop their mask and a picture is taken. But not to say that there aren't instances of our employees. We need to be working more with our employees in terms of getting them to know that they're setting the standard for our customers as well. So if they see our employees not wearing masks, then our customers feel that they don't have to. So we need to be working on getting out there. I know personally when I've been down at the terminals, once they notice that's me, I see a lot of people reaching to their neck and pulling up their masks. So unfortunately, I can't be everywhere. Although there's some people here that probably wish I wasn't in this building at times. So.
Yeah. So I just want to add a little bit to what Bob said. Good morning, everybody. With regards to the mask policy and so forth, I want to give some kudos to our staff to dealing with situations where we do deal with obstinate people and difficult people. There have been instances where we've had to refer matters to the police departments. Typically that happens when people come off the boat. And so the masters of the vessels, again, they control their vessels. If there's a disturbance, they can do what they need to do in order to keep that vessel safe. And the same goes for the terminal. We have our terminal conduct policy in place. I think I sent that out to everybody, several weeks ago. And just as a reminder, again, if there's disturbance on the property, then we're going to engage with local police or the Mass State Police on board the vessels. And we appreciate their assistance in trying to keep everybody safe and the vessels operating in an orderly way. Thank you very much. Any questions about that? I think so. Okay, thanks.
So I will say one of the other measures that we're taking, we've been investigating other, what other tools we can be using for our employees. We've identified some companies that make some face shields that will fit on the ball caps and that. So we've ordered some of those to try to get to see if those become a better option for our employees, at least to be using them if they at least provide that protection as well. So, but we'll continue. We need to be getting to the terminals more and reinforcing the requirement to be wearing the mask and on board the vessels as well, having rounds being taken to to remind people that they need to be wearing their mask if they're in the interior. Unfortunately, what happens is the embarkation, when they're disembarking, people tend to crowd together, and even though we tell people to try to maintain social distance, they're all in a rush to either get on or get off the boat. So.
Good, thank you.
And I think Mark has some graphs and charts that he'd like to show.
Everyone.
Hi, Mark.
Next right, then you will arrive at your destination.
Okay. So this chart showing the daily traffic levels using a 7-day moving average. If you look at the spike around September 4th, that's a combination of Labor Day shifting all into September compared to last year. It was an August-September event, as well as last year there was some weather implications which kind of skewed the numbers. But looking at it, that our passengers are right around 75–80%. The vehicles are pretty close to what we were carrying last year. This chart showing the advanced reservation activity by month through the end of the year. Right now, for the remainder of September, we're at about 109% of advanced reservations compared to last year. October, we're roughly at the same place as we were last year. You can notice the trend in all the months. We see a little downturn, then it starts swinging back up as people start canceling in advance with the uncertainty, and then things become more certain. Then we see the reservations getting closer to what they should be. This is the daily reservation activity, and I expect this number to be flat pretty much for the rest of the year, where we see the big drop off in the beginning of the year when COVID first really started, and then you can see us catching back up. And now that the summer reservations are over, it's really people booking short-term in advance. This is the credit card receipts. And looking at that, we're basically, for the credit card sales, they're right around where we were last year. This does not include cash receipts. We are seeing a trend of people going with contactless payments and credit cards compared to cash. Okay, so a couple updates as far as looking at the August numbers on the revenue side. We're looking at closing out the books hopefully this week. Vehicle revenue was up about 200,000, or 2% versus budget. Passengers continue to show softness. They were off about 25% or 1.3 million. And the parking revenue, we're looking at about 450,000 or about 26% versus budget. We sent out the September traffic numbers last night for the first 2 weeks, and that the passengers so far for the first 2 weeks of September are 6% down compared to last year. Automobiles are up about 15.8% and trucks are down about 4.7%. If we go back and compare that to 2018 without the storms, the passengers would be off about 18.5%, cars would be up about 6%, and trucks would be down about 6%.
So as a reminder, we had multiple storms that occurred that hit in September and beginning of October last year. So
Okay, so I'd be happy to answer any questions regarding the reservations or traffic forecasts.
Well, I just comment that whenever somebody doesn't understand what's happened with the Steamship Authority, I show them that credit card receipt graph. And basically, there it is, that crater.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great graph.
So one more item regarding this. So we continue to have discussions with the state's Executive Office of Administration and Finance and MassDOT regarding our position. We had one yesterday. We'll have another one in a couple of weeks. So at this point, we're just making sure that everything is lined up. So that way, once we're able to certify at the end of the year what our position is, that everything's in place for that. So.
I have a question. Please.
Are we going to be able to close out the year without additional infusion of funds?
Yeah. So as Mark is coming up, I think the cash flow that Mark's been working on shows that, first off, we did put aside, or Mark was able to put aside all the monies that were required for debt service that was had to be made September 1st and this coming March 1st. So those payments, those monies have been placed into the sinking fund. And I think the remainder of the year, I don't think.
We don't expect to have to use the line of credit for the remainder of the year. That being said, as long as things stay the way they are now. Obviously, if there's a shutdown or a spike in coronavirus or that impacts our travel, that would obviously change. But if we see what we're seeing for the last 60 days, we don't anticipate needing to use the line of credit. We should have enough cash to go through the end of the year.
Good question.
Yes.
So one question I had was the agreement from the state to cover our deficit. Has that been settled at a specific dollar amount, or is it more a conceptual approval?
Yeah, so it's whatever our deficit ends up being.
Okay.
You know, the discussions that we've been having with administration and finance revolve around which number off the balance sheet ends up being the deficit. As you know, we did receive you know, just under $10 million in CARES Act money. So you know, the result of that would be that, you know, while we would have a deficit for cash purposes, we did get that $10 million in cash, so that wouldn't be part of the equation. But I think in concept, we have agreement with the executive office, administration and finance on that. I think our next meeting, a representative from the state treasurer's office will be involved in that next meeting, so that way we can confirm that.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Bob. So basically, it's going to be net income less the grant money.
Correct.
Net loss minus grant money.
Okay.
To simplify.
I have one more question before you leave, Mark. Is the deficit coverage from the state supplemental budget tied in at all to federal relief, or is it independent of that and strictly within the state treasury function?
As far as I know, it's in the state treasury function. The only federal aspect would be the CARES Act money that would come off of the net income, as mentioned before, but it would be coming through the state, the reimbursement for the deficit.
Okay, thank you.
And to preface that, Jim, I'm not sure what they're going to do behind the scenes. You know, that's up to the Office of Administration and Finance, but from what we're being told, it's going to be coming from them to us.
Thank you. Oh, boy.
Okay, if there's no other questions on that, next we have the business summary for the month of July. Total number of passengers carried on both routes for the month of July was down 28.7% versus a year ago, just over 133,000 passengers. The total number of automobiles carried on both routes for July was up 0.2%, or 132 automobiles. Meanwhile, the number of trucks carried on both routes compared to a year ago was down 3.9%, or 714 units. Related to the passengers being down, the overall number of cars parked on both routes for July was down 39.5% versus a year ago, just under 13,000 automobiles, fewer automobiles being parked. So for the first 7 months of the year, passengers are down 40.5% versus a year ago, or just under 656,000 passengers. Our automobiles are down 22.6%, or 58,645 cars. Our trucks are down 19.0%, or 22,000 units. And our cars parked are down 52.4%, or just over 48,000 cars parked. Our net operating income, and yes, that was an income for the month of July, was $5,987,000, was some $1,964,000 lower than what we'd anticipated in the operating budget. Our operating revenues and other income of $15,781,000 was $2,295,000 lower than what we had budgeted. Our automobile revenue was up by $36,000, but our freight revenue was down by $108,000. Our passenger revenue was down $1,705,000, and our parking revenue was down $473,000. While miscellaneous income, which is primarily the license fees that we collect from the private carriers, is down $81,000. Our total operating expenses and other expenses were $9,793,000, and that's $330,000 lower than our budget. Our wages were down by $371,000. Our maintenance expense was up by $531,000, as the MV Governor was up by $163,000, and the Katama dry dock and overhaul repair was up $430,000. And both of those are just timing issues as to where we had those in the budget. Meanwhile, repairs to buildings and structures were down by $110,000. Our vessel fuel expense ended up being $240,000 below budget, as the actual cost came in at $1.50, just under $1.52 per gallon, while we had budgeted $2.19 per gallon. During July, the vessels made 2,509 trips. That represents a decrease of 257 versus budget. On the Vineyard route, 0 trips were canceled for mechanical reasons. See me? Okay. 0 trips for weather, and 138 because of traffic demands, the schedule changes that we made. While 41 unscheduled trips and 1 available trip was added. On the Nantucket route, we had 13 trip canceled for mechanical, 0 for weather, 56 because of traffic demands, but we had 4 unscheduled trips added. So the net operating loss for year to date as of the end of July was $14,205,000, or some $12,249,000 higher than what we had anticipated. Operating revenues and other income is $48,394,000 and is down by $17,480,000, while our operating and fixed charges of $62,599,000 was $5,231,000 lower than what we had budgeted. I think going on to page 9 and 10, you'll see that of the business summary, that all things considered, I think a cash position in the funds, is again, all things considered, is in fairly decent shape at that point, at this point, so. And with that, Mark or I would be happy to answer any questions you may have. Not hearing any. Moving on to updates on current projects. So first, we have the Woods Hole Terminal Reconstruction Project. So the next phase of the marine portion of the Woods Hole Terminal Reconstruction Project started on September 9th. Cashman returned the Randy R. barge to Woods Hole with its ringer crane. The crane was initially positioned in slip number 3 to remove the temporary catwalks and the temporary support piles before they moved south down to slip 1 for the remainder of the season. Shoreside demolition has begun with the removal of the passenger platform to the south and the removal of the former oil shed. We had to reposition the trash compactor, the oil storage trailer, and the like. And they've marked off their limit of work area, so that way it's a safe. Since the southern passenger pier is larger than the northern passenger pier, we'll have additional foundation work this season. Overall, a total of 87 piles, is that correct? 94 piles, I'm sorry, I stand corrected, will be driven this season for the foundation as well as the structures. We have 10 monopiles, 38 16-inch piles for the fixed passenger pier, and 39 18-inch piles for the head dolphins. So the head dolphins for this slip are not going to be monopiles. They're going to have to be, because of obstructions that we're aware of, they're going to be smaller piles in order to try to get those in place in proper position. So we don't have any, we didn't have any photos to be showing because not a lot has been done at this point other than demolition, but Bill's here. If you have any questions, I'm sure he'll be happy to answer. Okay, I'll take that as moving along. Vessel repair status. So this one,
Hang on, Ms. Tierney has a question.
No, I don't have a question, Mr. Chairman. I just need to let you know that I have to log off for a while to handle a court matter. And I will do my best to get back as soon as possible, but it's anyone's guess. Thanks.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you. Good luck you guys too. Especially with those change orders.
Okay. So we have a brief update on the, we don't have any vessels in shipyard at the moment, but we do have vessels in our repair facility in Fairhaven. So I'll ask Mark to come up here and walk you through a little presentation and update on what's going on.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning, Mark.
So this is kind of a little bit of a lull in the schedule until we commence the dry docks in October with the Eagle going in, but we have a little bit going on in our facility in Fairhaven. So right now we have the Martha's Vineyard in Fairhaven, and we're doing an overhaul of the main engines. You pick up another slide. There's a couple visuals to keep everyone some eye candy. This is the power units removed and the block cleaned up in preparation of the new cylinders and liners and pistons ready to go in and cylinder heads. This is kind of, this is on the freight deck. This is a removal of all the piston assemblies. It kind of gives you a view of the order for parts that we procured last month or that arrived last month for installation. And this is kind of a view of the deck cylinder head on the port main engine bank. And other than that, we're on schedule, ready to go back into service in October.
Mr. Jones.
just a quick question, Mark. When you're replacing the pistons and things like that, those engines are sleeved, are they not?
In regards, they have liners, yes, that's correct.
And you replace the liners also?
Yes, the complete power pack is changed. That's the liner, the piston, rings, and cylinder heads. So it's really, we're using the block as the basis, but the engine is effectively being rebuilt to new with all new components.
And what is the longevity period between rebuilds?
Just under 30,000 hours. That's our, that's the factory recommended duration in our program plan maintenance.
Yeah, and whose blocks are those?
The blocks are, we're reusing the blocks. The parts have been procured directly through EMD. That's the manufacturer of the engine.
Thank you.
I have a follow-up question on that. 30,000 hours is about how many years for that vessel?
Well, it depends on the operating schedule, but I would say it's usually every 3 to 4 years, but it depends on which route and how many hours per year. So all of our planned maintenance is hourly based, and that's how we go forward. That's the basis of the quality management system that we're.
Right, so you then, because it's in that, you then build that into your scheduling for repairs, overhauls, and maintenance and preventive maintenance, yes?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Great.
Okay.
Thank you.
The other vessel, well, before you leave, Mark, the other vessel we just have in there is the motor vessel Gayhead is in Fairhaven as well, getting its annual repair period during that. So we anticipate that vessel being done by the middle of October as well, although I don't believe it's scheduled to come back into service.
That's correct. We're concentrating on critical equipment. We're doing some alternator, taking the alternators off the generators, sending them out for maintenance, standard maintenance program for her time in Fairhaven.
Okay, let's do what we have to do to keep these boats safe and running.
Agreed. Okay.
Thank you.
So next item we have is the Nantucket Terminal emergency dredging. So we just wanted to give you a quick update on our efforts to conduct an emergency dredge at our Nantucket Terminal. Earlier this year, our crews, along with a barge operator who utilizes the face of that facility, identified some shoaling occurring off the eastern face of the dock. We engaged the services of a marine engineering firm to conduct a hydrographic survey to determine the extent of the shoaling. The engineers have determined that the shoaling and sediment has built up in sufficient quantities to warrant removal at this time. However, as our Chapter 91 maintenance dredging permit has expired, we will be required to prepare and submit an application for a new permit. That process typically takes 6 to 9 months for a full dredge permit. So since this was a concern about not only our vessels, but also some of the barge and tugs that utilize that, we sought application for an emergency dredge. So our application to Mass DEP resulted in them issuing an emergency certification for a partial dredge, while we prepare and submit an application for a full dredge proposal. Emergency approval to move forward with the dredge has also been received by all the regulatory agencies, including DCAM, Mass DEP, as I said, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, and the Nantucket Conservation Commission. An engineering crew from Steele Associates will be traveling over a Thursday to prepare a pre-dredge survey, a dredge survey, and a post-dredge survey. AGM Marine submitted the low bid for this project at $85,000 and will be performing the emergency dredge on Friday. It's expected they'll be able to get it all done in one day, weather permitting. So this is basically to remove about 100 yards of material while we go ahead and file our application, prepare our application and file it for a full dredge.
Mr. Jones has a question.
Yeah, two questions. Where do they transport the spoils to? And secondly, if it's land-based, where do they do their dewatering? On site, I assume.
Yeah, I believe AGM is going to be putting it on a barge and taking it to one of their facilities.
Okay.
So it won't be, we won't be dewatering it on the dock.
Okay. Thank you. You don't need your hip boots.
All right, moving on. SQMS status. The consultants on this project, Safety Management Systems LLC, report that the SQMS guide implementation tasks have been completed. SMS and the Steamship Authority has not moved forward, however, with the implementation, as staff is looking to include expanding the development of an event reporting application and database. So that way we have something online that the personnel can enter these events into, so that way we have it stored electronically. We are targeting October with the implementation of that phase of the project. Meanwhile, SMS LLC will be on site starting tomorrow to focus primarily on phase 3 of the project. Phase 3 items include shoreside operation personnel in the terminal and facilities operations manual. And SMS reports that this portion of the project remains on schedule. Going backwards to phase 2, implementation will continue once they receive some continued feedback on the vessel operations manual, and that likewise that work is continued to continue on into October. So I think Angela Sampson, our health, safety, quality, environmental manager, is on here as well. If Angela has anything that she'd like to add, or
She's coming over whether she wants to or not.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Yeah, we're excited to have SQMS on site tomorrow. They've been very pleased with the progress of the shoreside operations manual. The vessel operations manual is coming along nicely as well. And, even with COVID, and the pandemic, we're still proceeding, and just the consultants wish to thank all of the team project managers for helping to make sure this project still succeeds.
Angela, is there anything to look at with this project here? I mean, we know what it's all about, developing manuals and things of this nature. Is there any way of getting a snapshot of what this will look like physically?
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, we have in draft form, we have our VOM, which is our vessel operations manual. That's not live yet. We're still working on that with the consultants, as is our TFOM, which is our terminal facilities operations manual. That's in draft form as well. But all these documents are stored in a shared drive. So happy to share with any of you whatever your interests are in either the shore side or the marine side of documents, as well as we have an event reporting fillable PDF form that we utilize to help tracking and streamlining all of our incidents and accident reports that go into event software reporting form as well.
So how would we access this? I don't think I'm necessarily want to bother you at this stage of the game here, but I'm still curious as to just what this entails in its entirety and how much is covered, and you know how it's disseminated and also how it's produced.
Sure, absolutely. No, absolutely. We can provide you through email or you know, I'm not sure. I'd have to talk to IT on the accessibility of permissions through a shared drive, but either way, we'll get you the documents so you can review them.
Thank you, Angela.
I don't know if this is a question for Angela or for Bob. I've been following the numbers of people who've taken the various trainings each day in our new training modules and so forth. My question is follow-up. How do we monitor or measure whether behaviors are changed as a result of taking those courses?
Sure, I can speak to that. And if obviously Bob wants to add, please do. But so the great thing about the LMS software is it has tracking ability. So we can actually run reports by department, by individual, and we can look at those grades or percentages of, let's say, you know, X department is missing, you know, 10% of its courses versus another department. So that's the really good thing about having a learning management system is that you're able to track the trainings that you're providing.
So if I may,
At some point, I'd like that explained to me a little bit better, but not now. Thank you. Please go ahead.
Okay, so moving on to e-news. And this one, I'll turn it over to Sean.
Hang on, I need to. Okay, thank you, everybody. Let me bring my presentation up here. Sorry, I'm driving the boat, driving the ship in, trying to think about my presentation. Give me 2 seconds. Okay. Okay, great. Everyone can see my e-news update presentation, I hope.
Yep.
Okay, great. So, and apologies, Kimberly McHugh, our Director of Marketing, is out in the audience, but I spared her coming over at this point. So I'll pick on her later if I need her to answer a question. But just wanted to share with you some updates that we've made this year to the e-news program. And to give you just a bit of history, this is the e-news has been ongoing since 2010 when the first edition of that was launched and was initially segmented by audience between Vineyard and Nantucket. We had editions for both residents and travelers. And the goals of that program when it was launched included being able to communicate news in a timely manner, increase our reservation bookings and revenue, build brand loyalty, and also to raise awareness of our programs. So the process for this was that marketing created a plain text version and an HTML version using an Adobe product for each of those 4 segments. Those were all sent to the MIS department, which then created test emails for approval and then was responsible for sending out the final versions to all customers who signed up. In 2013, our website was redesigned that allowed us to have a sign-up page to help build our subscriber base. And eventually that was built to over 4,000 traveler subscribers and over 2,400 island resident subscribers. You can just briefly see the design evolution of the e-news from 2010, a redesign in 2013, and then one in 2018 as well. But what Kimberly and I started talking about last year was looking for a way to accelerate and streamline the overall process of designing and sending out the e-news. We wanted to have a way for us to eliminate the need for MIS department to push out the e-news. So it was reliant on one individual to be able to do that. And it was sort of a choke point for us in terms of the speediness of that process. We wanted to increase our overall engagement with the subscribers and also be able to measure that better. We wanted to enhance public awareness of our programs and basically give us more flexibility for new editions of e-news and a quicker turnaround when we needed something that had to go out in a timely manner. The big challenge for us was finding the right platform that met our privacy and security requirements. And the solution that we found was a program called GovDelivery by a company called Granicus. We already use GovDelivery to push out our text and email alerts on the service side, and their communications cloud program is secure. And the nice thing about them is that they exclusively target the public sector. So they are used by over 1,800 government agencies nationwide. They don't deal with private companies. They have a deep commitment to privacy, a robust platform with built-in customizable design templates. We can more finely target our subscriptions, get better analytics, and just overall be able to reach more people in a variety of ways. And also, because they are partnered with so many public agencies, especially here in Massachusetts, it allows for cross-promotion. So you're signing up for a newsletter from, say, the Massachusetts Department of Transportation. They recommend, hey, you signed up for this, you might like the Steamship Authority's offerings as well. So it allows us to reach even farther than our normal subscriber base. So the new e-news debuted in May of 2020. Our original target was March, but you may remember something happening in March that pushed us off just a little bit, but we still got this going in May. And this is a look at our new design. And along with the additions that I mentioned previously, we also have moved to this e-news platform project updates. So starting in September, we added the Woods Hole Terminal project weekly updates to this, which allowed that to have more photos and a more dynamic offering. People can sign up to receive notices at public meetings from the Port Council and the board, and then also press releases. So far, just a quick look at our analytics from the first few months. Our current subscribers are right around 8,600. We've had 115 new subscribers and 240 deletions, but most of those deletions were bad addresses that got purged at our first send. So that's a function of the list being cleaned up and not necessarily a function of people unsubscribing from us. Of our subscribers, we have almost more than 11,800 subscriptions. That's up 591 from May 1st. So people are adding to the what they subscribe to. In that time period, we sent 52 bulletins. Our open rate was 25%, which is a little bit under the government sector average, but right around sort of the average amongst all sectors. And our engagement rate, which looks at bulletins that are opened or clicked on within 90 days of that send, is 66%. So that's a statistic that GovDelivery gives us because our bulletins are a little bit different. They're not tied to a sale or a limited promotion. People go back to them after a longer lead time, so they measure engagement over that longer time because just sort of the different offerings, the different dynamics of our newsletters. So some next steps that we're going to take, we continue to assess and adjust the topics that we offer. We already have done one. We initially offered notices at both the Port Council and the board separately, but those lists were almost identical. So we combined that into one public meeting notice list, which also allows us to send out notifications of other events as well. And then, as I mentioned, we added the terminal reconstruction project emails to that. And we also are getting ready to start a promotional campaign to offer a text to subscribe option, some posters with QR codes for easy subscription, and also to do some targeted social media promotions as well. And these are quick links here as far as how to subscribe. You can still do so through the Steamship Authority website, or there's a direct link to that as well. And I would be happy to take any questions. Mr. Jones.
Mr. Jones.
Yeah, thank you. Just a couple of things. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah. First of all, I would like to get on that list of all of the publications.
I will subscribe everyone on their Steamship Authority accounts after this meeting.
Great. I think it's important that anything that's printed comes to the board and the port council, so we all know what's happening. It seems like, am I corrected? It seems like this is more targeted to the islands than it is to the mainlands. I saw, different tourists and then the excursion people on the vineyard in Nantucket and stuff. It doesn't seem like there's much inclusion of the mainlands. And I'm not sure what the four corners of this news article is about. But I think when you start to talk about marketing and things like that, and not to become a chamber of commerce, but marketing is to grab ridership, which could be ridership, from the islands to the mainlands for events that are happening on the mainlands and vice versa. It seems like for the number of passengers we have, of over 3 million on a normal basis, and there's only something like about 8,000 or more subscribers. I wonder, do they know about it? Do we need to do promotion for the newsletter itself? We all get tons of emails, and it doesn't surprise me that there's only about a 25% open rate. But nevertheless, I'm just wondering if this could be a more powerful tool. So
Jordan, I mean, if I may, that's part of why we switched to this platform, is to be able to increase the reach and the power of it, so that we could take more control over it ourselves, and get more things out quicker and in a more timely manner. As to your point about the mainlands, and I wasn't here when this started, obviously, but it really is tied to the route. So anything that would be, Hyannis, Barnstable based or Falmouth based would go with their sort of specific routes in terms of what edition it would end up in. So that's how we've generally played it in my time here and since I've been subscribing to it. So it's more, targeted to the route, which would include both ends of that route, of course. But you're right in that, we certainly have a lot of room to grow. And that's part of what we're going to be working on here in our next phases, is trying to get more people involved in it. But I think that our numbers have been pretty strong and steady, and we're looking to grow that. But I think that there certainly is, opportunity there, which is what we're hoping to capture.
Are you doing, are there advertising opportunities for, different establishments?
We've had limited advertising in there in the past. We haven't done it in the last couple of years, but that's another avenue we're going to look at probably in 2021, is offering advertising opportunities to bring a little bit more revenue in.
Yeah. Well, I could see, a Woods Hole Falmouth / Martha's Vineyard and a Hyannis Nantucket / type of email where we can be more inclusive of some of the mainland events, to encourage, the travel. I know a ton of people who have never been to Nantucket. Yeah, they got one of the most beautiful places in the world. And I've been looking at you, Rob. And yeah.
Bring it.
And they've never been to Nantucket. And it's incredible, the opportunities that's there. And sometimes it's a matter of how do you get them? I mean, it's a collection of all of these things to do a marketing campaign. But I like what you're doing. I like the new look, which I can't say that I really knew what the old look was. But in any event,
Favorite of the look. Thank you, sir.
that's enough.
In fairness, I think Mr. Jones' point is very accurate. We need more passengers. This year has showed that. So anything we can use as a marketing tool to increase ridership is a very valuable step. So I
Your
concur.
lips to the budget man's ears, Mr. Malkin.
Mhm.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, so next item we have is update on our e-ferry ticketing application, which we rolled out on September 9th. And I think Mr. Rosen has a few numbers for you. No charts, but numbers.
Sorry to disappoint. So far, through the initial rollout, we've done a total of just over 2,000 transactions, which encompasses about 7,000 passengers. The feedback's been good. The one area of learning curve that we need for the customers and employees is people who have not used the Apple Wallet or Google Pay application before to have that pre-set up. Working with Sean and our vendor, working on some improved signage, possibly even adding a GIF onto the ticket itself to show you how to add it into the Apple Wallet, and some more training for our frontline employees and signage at the terminals as well, and possibly a video on our website to help promote that. But the feedback we've received, and Allison can verify this, has been very good from the users. And the ticket, eventually we can start putting push notifications out onto the ticket. It's a smart ticket where in the back it includes ability to tie into whether it's Waze or Google Maps, a simple click to refund your ticket instead of finding your email for the Apple tickets. We can geofence the ticket, so when you come onto the property, it'll automatically pop up in your wallet, Google Pay on your home screen, versus looking for an email that you might have bought earlier in the day or went into spam. So all said and done, it's going pretty well.
Question, Mark, are you saying that the problem is that people don't know how to use their phone to buy the tickets, or they don't know how to, once purchased, they don't know how to put that ticket in their wallet on their phone?
It's the latter. So they're not, the buying it's going well.
Got
It's
it.
just a matter of loading it into the wallet.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, no other questions on that. Next, the staff would like to propose to the members a program to honor all U.S. veterans, including active military personnel and retired veterans, with free travel on Veterans Day. And I know whether Sean or Kimberly wanted to
Sure.
give a quick update on that, or?
I think Kimberly can do this one. Let me bring her over. Hang on just a second.
You may recall we started it, we did it last year. It was kind of late, so there wasn't a lot of opportunity to get promotions.
Mr. Jones, while we're waiting for Kimberly.
Oh, there she is. Kimberly, you there?
I am here. Can you see me?
We can hear you.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's good enough, I guess. Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
We last year, for the first time ever, we presented a Veterans Day promotion at the request of some board members. And basically it's, we honored all veterans, including active military and retired, with free travel on Veterans Day. So what we did we started with some research of what other ferry operators were doing, and we found that the majority of them do not advertise a discounted fare, but some of them do offer a variety of promotions, including a free travel. So what we did last year was we allowed all military men and women who have a valid military ID to travel for free on Veterans Day. So, sorry, I'm reading this as I'm going along here.
As a passenger.
Right, as a passenger. And then the results of last year's promotion included a total of 86 tickets were issued to veterans on the Vineyard route, and 45 tickets were issued to veterans on the Nantucket route. And Hyannis issued 23 tickets, and Woods Hole issued 51 tickets. So for this coming year, we would like to offer this free day of travel once again, and that's Wednesday, November 11th. And we'd like to promote this event in multiple ways so that we probably will see more tickets being issued. And then if we feel that this is, again, a success, then we would want to offer it maybe as an annual program. So at this time.
Yeah, I should point out that the Port Council at their September 9th meeting voted to recommends that the members approve the program.
Right.
So we're looking for a vote. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. But
Mr.
we are
Jones had his hands up.
You know, truthfully, I have a passion for this for several reasons, being a veteran, and I would like to see it on an annual basis. Veterans don't come just one year and go, you know, by the way, the next year. That I can tell you throughout the country, there's a growing, what shall I say, awareness and recognition of veterans that I never enjoyed coming back from Vietnam. And I'd recently got a call from the Greatest Generations Foundation, who send people and sent me to Vietnam for 10 days and stuff. But their motto is that every day is Memorial Day. And it's a philanthropic organization that has just done wonders of honoring the veterans, now targeting the World War II and Korean veterans, and sending them to Normandy and to Vietnam and Korea and Hawaii and all over the place. And I just think it's a good thing. And I would certainly make a motion to pass this, but I would like to see it, if you so desire to agree with me, that to make this an annual occurrence. It also, you know, that the veterans are probably not traveling alone. They'll have their spouse, their children with them, or whatever. So it's not as though you're not getting a return for the money, because that's only good for the veterans, the pass for the veterans. So there is an economic balance on this thing here, and I think it's just good for everybody. So I would make that motion to make this an annual event. If I need to amend the motion to do that, it's been amended, and you can vote on it any way you wish.
Okay, thanks for the motion, Mr. Jones. Ms. Wilson had her hand up.
I was just going to say the same thing, and that I think that we ought to make it a permanent thing. I fully approve.
Does that mean you're seconding the motion?
Well, yeah, that was my initial comment, but yes, I'm seconding the motion.
Is there any other discussion? And the motion is to accept the for this year and then evaluate next year whether it becomes an annual. What is the motion?
No, the motion is to make it an annual occurrence.
Okay, that's the motion. It's been made and it's been seconded. Does the Steamship Authority management have a position or advice to offer on making this an annual rather than a just this year for this vote issue?
I don't believe we have an issue. I think it was just going to be a matter that we'd be coming back and reporting this on a, following Veterans Day, and then, in the lead up to following years, we'd be likewise bringing it to the attention. But I don't have any issue with if it's going to become an annual event.
Okay, so the motion has been made and seconded to make this an annual event. Is there any discussion on that? No? Well, it's been made and seconded. It comes to a vote. There's a roll call vote.
Jones, aye.
Wilson, I.
Randy, aye.
Malk and I. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. So next is the treasurer's report on the 2019 cost of service analysis and review. So I'll ask Mark to come on up. Right down.
So I'm going to quickly go over the cost analysis of 2019. And really got to concentrate on the sections, as Sean's pulling this up, V through Z, and getting down to how much does it cost us to transport a car or truck, and what vehicle, what percentage of the cost of the corresponding vehicles covering. With this, we're using the same methodology we've used for the last 15 years. And before we get into each route, that the direct costs are going to swing from year to year on the route, depending on which route has the dry docks. And in 2019, the majority of the dry docks fell onto the Nantucket route. That's why you see the Martha's Vineyard route decreasing by 1.3% or 398,000. Conversely, next year, we'll see that number increase. Indirect costs on the Vineyard route increased by 1.6 million or 2.1%. The majority of these costs were associated with an increase of depreciation last year, health and welfare benefits, and increase of about 700,000 in fuel costs from the previous year. All said and done, the cost of operating on the Vineyard route went up about 1.2 million at 2% versus 2018. Our occupancy rate was 79.1% compared to 80.5% the year before. Okay, so on the Vineyard route, the cost to transport a car on average during the course of the year was $68.13. The average revenue per car, when you took all the standard fares and all the excursion fares and added all the revenue together and divided by the amount of cars traveling, came up to $53.86. The average standard fare paid $74, and the average revenue for an excursion fare was $19.74. But that's taking the excursion fare out, minusing 2 adult fares, because the excursion ticket, as you know, has 2 adults and 2 children combined in their ticket. This is the analysis for the truck space on the Vineyard route. The average truck space cost was $118. The average revenue of all the trucks, going from a pickup truck all the way up to a semi, was $110.26. The average revenue for a pickup truck standard fare was $75.17, and the average revenue per excursion fare truck was $28.58 on the Martha's Vineyard route. On the Nantucket route, as previously mentioned before, they had more of the costs incurred associated with the dry docks, and that's why we see their vessel operations increased by 2.9 million. The indirect cost is similar to the Vineyard route, increased $2 million or 14.8%. Again, that's associated with the health and welfare depreciation. Overall, the Nantucket route saw a $5 million increase or 15.8% versus 2018. Their occupancy rate last year was 82.8% versus 85.2% from the year before. On the Nantucket route, the average cost of transporting a car was $157.10. The average revenue per car was $162.65. Standard fare averaged $212.66 compared to an excursion car averaging just under $54. And again, that's without, that's factoring out the passengers. On the truck space, we're looking at the average truck, again, from pickup trucks all the way to semis, it was $377. The average revenue, that's how much it costs for the cost. The average revenue per truck was $312. The standard fares were $208, while the excursion fare was $67. And how we formulate that is basically we take our operating costs plus our indirect costs, minus out the passenger revenue. That leaves us cost for operating the boats. Take the amount of vehicle space capacity, divide that out, that gives us our average cost per space. Then we take the same formula by the amount of vehicles traveling. What we're seeing now, it's evident with the passenger revenue this year, is that cost for the vehicles got to go up. Without that passenger revenue is basically helping to take the burden of the direct and indirect costs of the operating of the vessels. And that's something we'll be talking about next month during the budget. I'd be happy to answer any questions regarding this analysis.
I have a question, but my head hurts already.
I kept it brief. I didn't go through all 10 sections.
Okay, could you go back just to the last slide as an example?
I'll bring it up, but if you want to ask your question, I need just a second to get back to the slideshow.
Well, you showed, and I didn't have my reading glasses on, but you showed on the Nantucket run, for example, an excursion. You got that?
Yeah.
Right. You're showing an average revenue per excursion fare truck of 66, average revenue per standard of 207, average revenue per truck of 312. What kind of a truck is paying considerably more to bring that average revenue to 312?
All right, so we have.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. That's the
question.
Yes, that's the average from a pickup truck all the way up to a semi. And on the staff summary, you can see, for instance, on the Nantucket run, a 5-space truck, or we'll use a 4-space. That's the common semi tractor trailer. That's $519.
So when we do the analysis, what we do is we come up with the number of vehicle spaces that we have as a car equivalent unit, a CEU.
Yep.
And based on that and based on the cost of service, we identify what a space of that a CEU cost us to fill, to operate. And then using the actual traffic statistics based on the breakout, whether they're a 1-space, 2-space, 3-space, et cetera, truck, we take that car space, and if it's a 2-space, it has to be 2 cars, and we come up with that percentage. So
I understand that. So what is this then saying to me, that the semi trucks are paying simply considerably more than your standard fare trucks and your excursion fare truck?
They're paying gross more, yes.
Well, to get to that average of 312.
Yes.
Thank you.
I think
I'm not a forensic accountant. I'm just trying to feel my way around here.
I think on a percentage basis, though, they're actually paying slightly less, particularly on the Nantucket run. The way that the fare structure is there is, the 2-space on up is paying probably somewhere in the area of 80 to 85% of the cost of that space. On the Vineyard run, it's a little different. It's probably closer to 90 to 95% of the cost of the space. It's been, over the years, some of the philosophy on where to be placing any rate adjustments. On the Nantucket run, the on-season standard car rates have traditionally been higher than the cost, what the overall cost for those trucks, so on average.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Okay, so
Mr. Jones, were you asking something or just mumbling?
I don't know what happened.
We can hear you still.
We can hear you, we can't see you.
Oh, I don't know.
Can you hear us, Bob?
Very fine. Keep talking.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
Keep going.
So
Here.
next item we have is a request of a vote of the board to authorize replacement of the computer hardware currently being used for the authority's reservation system. The current reservation system hardware will experience its scheduled end of life as of the end of this year by IBM. The current hardware was purchased back in the spring of 2013. The processes for the proposed new equipment are approximately twice as fast as the current system, and the data storage will have 5 times the performance capabilities of what we currently have. The total cost of the hardware, software, and installation is expected to be $364,647, plus a 5-year hardware software maintenance agreement for $324,974, bringing the total overall cost to $689,621. And as a shipping fee, we anticipate there'll be less than $5,000 for shipping. Delivery of this equipment, it takes about 6 weeks from the time we place the order. And based on that, that should allow for ample time prior to the opening to have that equipment in place and operational to ensure that it's working properly before we open up for the 2021 summer reservations on our web reservations. Should point out that this project was identified for a inclusion of a grant that we have, Ferryboat Formula monies. We did have the Barnstable County include that on their transportation improvement plan, which in turn gets rolled up into the state transportation improvement plan. At this point, we believe all the paperwork has been filed with MassDOT, who is the rural pass-through agency for MassDOT into this application, and along with the FTA. Although as of this morning, I hadn't received the final word. So when I make this recommendations, I'm going to preface it that we're asking the members to vote to authorize the general manager to purchase the replacement computer equipment from Continental Resources under the Massachusetts, Commonwealth of Massachusetts ITC 47 contract for a total price of $689,621 plus shipping charges, subject to final approval from FTA and MassDOT on the acceptability of for the grant program. That will allow us to get reimbursed for 80% of the cost of the equipment.
Thank
And
you.
what do we have to do? I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Good. Please, Ms. Wilson.
What do we have to do to establish eligibility? Is there anything, we just have to get in the queue, or is there?
Yeah, we filed all the paperwork that needed to be done. Unfortunately, this program falls under federal highway program. And so there was things that, for instance, we had to give a certification that there was no right-of-way impacts on it didn't impact any roads or anything like that. So we had to make some certifications along that regard. So as I said, as of Thursday last week, we were informed that everything was done. They were just waiting for the final signature on the form. We got word late Friday that we should be getting that beginning of this week. I did not receive it yesterday, and I haven't had a chance to check to see whether it's come in yet. But I anticipate we'll have it. Mark's shaking his head no. He's looking at his emails, so we haven't received it yet. But I think it's strictly a formality. I just don't want to. I want to have the vote prefaced in that manner, so that way we don't run afoul of any that the board approves it before final approval. So
and follow-up question: would this new computer arrangement sort of help hedge against the difficulties we've had with reservation crashings and that type of computer problem?
Yeah, it'll be one of the tools that we'll be utilizing to make sure that we don't have a repeat of what occurred this past year.
Right, good.
Mr. Jones?
Yeah, Bob, it seems to me that when we changed over to this system for IBM and stuff several years ago, that we had a lot of problems of integrating the system, am I correct?
We've had different.
Did you hear that?
Yes, so I think what you're referring to is when we changed our website, there were some issues with the performance, and we had to upgrade the equipment. Our staff has talked with IBM, and based on the usage that we require at peak times, they've spec'd out this equipment to make sure that we're at the level that we should be getting the performance that we require.
Okay, so they're in charge pretty much for the changeover with coordinated help, I assume. But,
Correct.
You know, yeah, and that's all under the maintenance and contract of the 300 and some odd.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Is 5 years about the norm for computers these days? You know, yeah. I don't know what we paid for the IBM initially, but I think that system was much more expensive than that, as I remember.
I think the costs have come down, but the performances has gone up. So
that's a good trade-off.
Yeah. Do we have a motion?
Make a motion to accept, to approve the purchase, upgrade of the computer system.
Great. Is there a second?
I'll second it. I'll second it.
Thank you. Motion's made and seconded. As there's no further discussion, it comes to a vote. All in favor, please. Roll
Wilson.
call.
Jones?
Randy, aye.
Malk and I. Thank you. You have your vote, Bob. You have your vote, Bob.
Well, Bob, Mr. Jones, I think. Yeah, he's back. I think I didn't hear his vote.
I did.
You did?
Oh, okay. I just
Yeah,
noticed that both my audio and video are off. I just turned them back on, but my vote is yes, aye.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so next item we have is for authorization, to obtain authorization for the general manager to award contract number 11-2020 to repair and replace approximately 30 structural piles at the Oak Bluffs Pier, as well as approximately 331 linear feet of pile cap and miscellaneous stringer repairs as defined in the construction documents, to the lowest eligible and responsible bidder for the contract, which would be Coastal Marine Construction LLC of Canton, Mass, in the amount of $752,524. As a reminder, at the board's meeting back in April 21st, the board instructed me to obtain bids to repair or replace approximately 35 structural piles at the Oak Bluffs Pier. And then following that meeting, the specifications were sent out and advertised bids for 19 contractors. But during that process, we identified that it wasn't going to be feasible to get all that work done and get the facility open for the summertime. So the scope of that project was cut back to address only 13 structural piles, and then and have that completed by June 22nd. And at the May 12th meeting, the board awarded a contract. In that case, it was to Coastal Marine Contractors for $267,000. So we sent this phase 2 project out. We sent it, 20 bid packages went out. We received 3 bids. And at this point, we're requesting that the members vote to authorize the general manager to award contract number 11-2020 Oak Bluff Structural Pier Repairs 2020 Phase 2 to repair or replace approximately 30 structural piles at the Oak Bluff Pier, as well as approximately 331 linear feet of pile cap and miscellaneous stringer repairs. The lowest eligible and responsible bidder for the contract, Coastal Marine Construction LLC of Canton, Mass, in the amount of $752,254.
Are there any questions? I do have one, but Mr. Rennie.
I'm concerned about the timing of this. What's the time frame that we're going to be going ahead with this?
So they'll start work the following that terminal closing on the 20th of October. And the contract includes completion of the work before year end. And there's some liquidated damages in the contract as well for that contract.
Are we concerned about arriving in next spring and the winter has damaged what we've just done?
We're concerned about the condition of the dock itself and whether we'd be experiencing even more damage to it without, reinforcing it when we have a chance. And so that's why we're continuing to pursue getting this done this year.
No, I agree. I mean, I think that was my position last spring. Was I knew that we would have to continue. We didn't want to let it go because it would get worse before we could shore it up, and that's obviously an ongoing concern. I just don't want to get to next spring and find out that the money that we've just spent and all the work we've just done is ruined in one or two winter storms. But I get the fact that we need to keep it strong through the season.
And Mark's here at the table, so I think rejacketing some of them too.
Yeah, we also have into our next year's budget some other funds to jacket some of the other piles. This will bring us back up to where we need to be as far as restraint, taking full tractor trailer trucks on board the pier. So we have a good plan going forward.
I'd ask a question if I may. Mark, when we spoke last time, this is originally budgeted at $750,000 for the whole thing. And when we spoke about just doing a part of it, one of the discussion points was whether it would cost more to do it in 2 stages. And the response we got was, other than the mobilization fee of having to bring people back in again to do it, we'd be looking at about the same cost. But now we're looking at $1 million instead of $750,000. Can you help me understand that, please?
Yeah, we do have a few more pilings that we identified that need to be replaced as a result of the installation of the original pilings in the spring. The numbers that we were given by our consultant were not to the same from the bids that we received, and that's the difference. The scope hasn't changed from the original. It's just the bids as far as the what we received.
So the scope hasn't changed, but the bids came in higher than we had planned.
That is correct.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. And I did note in the supplemental materials, you've already referenced, you have additional work scheduled for that pier in March of next year?
Yes, we have some decking repairs that we're going to be upgrading, and also some jacketing of other repairs to prevent the board damage going forward.
Right, I'm following on from Mr. Rainey's question. Thank you. Ms. Wilson.
And these bids cover that additional work, Mark?
No, the work that was covered was the original identified 30 pilings and approximately 350 linear feet.
Right.
The other work is preventive work going forward, which is not identified in this work scope.
Okay, thanks.
All right, do you need a motion?
Yes.
Is there a motion?
I will make a motion to approve this.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none, comes to a vote. Roll call, please.
Jones, aye.
Also aye.
And Malcolm, aye. Thank you.
Okay, so next on the agenda, staff would like to request a vote of the members to authorize the general manager to execute change order number 56 for contract number 9B-2012, contract for final design and construction administration services with BIA Studios for a total revised landside basic service fee of $956,023. With us on the Zoom today is Chris Iwerks and Liam Davis from BIA Studios. By way of background, the meeting back in November, on November 19, 2019, the members authorized the general manager to direct BIA Studios to undertake schematic design phase services for a new one-story terminal building and a new two-story utility building at the Woods Hole Terminal site. That was the concept that was being proposed at the meeting on January 21st, 2020. The members reviewed a proposed change order, which in that case was number 53, to this contract, which detailed modifications to the scope, schedule, and fees for the design of the Woods Hole Ferry Terminal reconstruction landside task. The tasks include schematic design, design development, and production of construction documents. The net fee for the proposed change order at that time was $885,681. And was different from, it was based on the revised fees less what we'd previously paid. So as you may recall, at that point, prior to authorization of that, the board requested a review of the billing from BIA Studios, which was undertaken and presented to the board at last month's meeting. After the members analyzed the accounting review of BIA fees by Steve Sayers, shortly thereafter, I requested that BIA Studios revisits its proposed modifications to the scope, schedule, and fees for the design of the terminal reconstruction landside task, particularly in light of COVID-19 in the ongoing pandemic. So in the package is their proposed change order number 56, which sets anew the scope for the landside project, including the review of both building concepts for the lessons learned as a result of COVID-19. Approval of the proposed change order will allow design work and engineering evaluation to move forward on the new terminal and utility building concepts. The net fee for the change order is $956,023, $956,023. And so staff is recommending that the members vote to authorize the general manager to execute change order number 56 for contract number 09B-2012, contract for final design and construction administration services with BIA Studios LLC for a total revised basic service fee of $956,023 as outlined in the staff summary.
Discussion? Comments? I have a question. Bob, when you and I, the last time we met in person, which I believe was in March, there was some conversation about whether or not, given our financial situation, we should do anything on the utility building now in terms of taking it down and making it compliant, but leave it as a pre-existing structure. Is that no longer under consideration?
One second.
I've given you to drink.
Yeah. Tickle on my throat, sorry. In terms of that, we've looked at that building. It is, in terms of the entire site, There's work that needs to be done and that will involve impacting that building in any event. I think with the timeline that is now being laid out in front of us, that in light of the delay in authorizing the design services for the building, in light of the delay caused by COVID here, that we end up losing a season in this construction at least a season during this construction project. And so therefore, I'm hopeful that, we'll be able to either seek grants for that utility building in the meantime, and or that we'd have an additional year of transfers to the replacement fund.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other questions or comments here? Mr. Jones.
Chris and Leon, from the background that I'm looking at here, I think we're paying you too much. Is things nice out there on the beach and in the mountains? Could see a time delay. Anyways, when I looked at the length of time to completion here, is there any way of, putting the whole project more on a fast track here? It's time is money, and the number of years that between now and completion, prices go up, as we know, every day, and it just seems like, when we get into, I'm going to say, waterfront work, government work, and all the rest, I mean, we're just absolutely regulated to death, which is no fault of yours. You've got to go with what it is, but is there any way, can you see of any way of fast tracking this?
You're muted.
We can't hear you.
Chris, you're muted.
Yeah, Chris, you're muted. Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
We've talked about this with the staff because they were interested in the same things. Are things we can do to speed it up? And our advice right now is that once we get through the redoing of BOD and schematic design, we'll have a better grasp on what our options are. And there may be options to release an early site package, for instance. Right now, we're not certain that that would be advantageous because there are a lot of moving parts to this. But you may notice if you look back in our previous proposals, we've always had that in mind of ways to try to get this moving, get things accelerated. Our last proposal on this, in fact, had an early construction phase 5A that would be happening right now, but that didn't happen. So that 5A work now can't really productively happen until we start actual construction on the whole thing, because there's no taking advantage of the contractor that's there right now to do that work. So yeah, I think we're going to keep looking for ways to make it go faster. Just right now, the schedule we've laid out is what seems prudent, at least through schematic design.
Ms. Wilson?
Yes, and presumably if you're able to do it more quickly, it'll look better, so that's a good way to start with the schedule. In looking at your letter, I meant geothermal systems. Is that really an option for us at this site?
Yes. I'd say it's an option. It's not a proven site. There's some testing that has to be done to determine viability.
I see.
It's something we want to investigate in the design phase. And if we can do it, if it's economical, if we can do it, if it'll work, then yes.
That would be
if we
terrific.
find something that makes it impossible to do, then we have to move on to another plan.
And I know this is a touchy subject, the bike park and its placement. is, can we leave that open so that we can discuss alternative placement for the bike park?
Yeah, that's another thing we've talked about because we've heard that that was an interest. Of course, there was an interest when it was a park, making it into a bike park. and general manager at the time said, okay, we can do that.
Sure.
So yeah, I think just finding places for these program elements, if it doesn't go there, where would it go? But yeah, I think there's time in schematic design to try to be responsive to things that may have once been a priority, but maybe are now less of a priority.
Well, I really want the bike path to be as safe and comfortable for everyone to use as possible. So I realize in Falmouth that my comment right there is going to stir the pot for a lot of people. And so but I do think that it is an issue that ought to be dealt with. And I don't want you to have to spend a whole lot of time going through different scenarios on all of that. So that's sort of an internal thing, I think, for Steamship to try and coordinate with our bike committee and our selectmen and that type of thing. And so with that in mind, the community presentations, how can we make the best use of that, of some format, and perhaps the Zoom format is actually going to lend itself to having some community involvement in an efficient and actually productive way. And I don't have any particular suggestions, except that I'd like to do it better than we did in the past couple of years anyway.
So the proposal says that we're open to having really as many meetings as you think would be appropriate to have in each phase. So as we're developing materials and have enough there to present to people to show what we're thinking about, particularly if we have a point where we're not decided on particular things and we want input on aspects of the design, those would be points along the way that we'd want to have those kinds of community presentations. And I also want to say, when we started this project out in 2013, the very first thing that we did was to sit down with every user group and operational group and talk to them for about an hour. We still have the notes from all those meetings. And we also met with the Business Association and the Neighborhood Association, I may not have their names right, and the planning department to get everybody's input. Our effort from the very beginning has been to be kind of cohesive in taking into account stakeholder perspectives.
Yep.
And so we think that's a very good way to develop projects so that we get input, and we'd look to continue to do that.
Great. Yeah, I think the design work will be of a lot of interest to people locally. Thank you.
Thank you. You need anything further, Bob?
Request a vote to authorize the proceeding.
Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve and go along with staff's recommendation.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Mr. Jones, a second. Motion's been made and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, it comes to a vote. It's a roll call vote. All in favor, please.
Randy, aye.
Wilson, aye.
Jones, aye.
And Malkin, aye. Thank you. You have your vote. Thank you, gentlemen.
Okay. Yep.
Live long, prosper, and let's move this forward as expeditiously as possible.
Okay.
Thank you.
Be safe. Thank you.
Okay. I just had a couple other things under old new business, if that's okay.
You did. Yes, you did. You had some supplemental stuff as well. You're going to refer to that?
If there's anything in particular anyone wants to bring up, I think we did include.
Yeah. Okay, in the package, under supplemental stuff, I'd point out to the board members, there's some timelines for the ship repair and maintenance, as well as for dockside repair and maintenance projects. I found them very, very helpful. I appreciate them. but could you send them to me electronically rather than in diligent? Because my 72-year-old eyes can't read all that fine print.
Thank you.
Certainly.
Thank you.
Okay, if I may, I'm kind of sad, I am saddened to report that at the end of this month, Gina Barbosa, after nearly 46 years of service here at the Steamship Authority, will be retiring. And so Gina's with us today.
We tricked her into coming.
Trick her to come up here.
Come on. Come on.
So Gina started in our she's coming up here. She started in our reservation office as a seasonal clerk, ended up becoming full-time. For a period of time, she was in our computer department for probably about 10 years or so in our computer department. And then since then, she's been our reservation manager and our reservation bureau manager, customer service manager. So it's going to be a sad day when Gina leaves here, but I did want to have everyone recognize her years of service.
Wonderful. Gina, isn't this embarrassing?
So, thank you, Gina.
Gina, hey, don't let her leave. Gina.
Okay, I won't.
Thank you. It's Jim Malkin. I want to, on behalf of the board and also the prior Vineyard governors and members who've known you and worked with you, thank you for what you've done. Express to you that they think that retirement is much more than it's cracked up to be. So look forward to it. That it's a new chapter ahead of you, and we wish you all the best going forward. So thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I'm looking forward to trying to sleep in the morning now.
Well, I should tell you that doesn't come easy in retirement.
Oh, I was hoping it would. It's 4:30 in the morning's getting old right now.
And Mr. Rainey has a comment.
I just, on behalf of an entire island full of constituents, past and present, who think that I somehow am a genius for the things that I can pull off, that don't know that it's actually Gina that's pulling it all off. And we are incredibly grateful for your years of service, and probably don't know where we would be without you. So thank you so much.
Thank you. It's been my pleasure.
Gina, I'll probably see you at maybe the Kennedy Memorial, Trader Joe's or someplace like that. When you're popping around Hyannis now. But, you know, I really want to tell you how much we all appreciate what you've done over the years. And I think it's a real testimony to the authority to have people like yourself who will make a career, a full career of being with the authority and doing what you do. And you that are on the front lines here, my hat's off to you. I mean, 3 million passengers a year. Oh my goodness, I can't imagine the phone calls. But and I'm sure you could have stories to tell. But anyways, in your retirement, you know, take the time, have some fun, and you know, take the boat to Nantucket sometime. It's a nice place.
I'm sure I'll be on them at some point.
Thank you very much, Gina.
No problem. Thank you.
That's great, Gina. Well done. Thank you.
You're free.
Okay.
I guess if I could segue then for a moment, I'd like to announce that Angela Campbell I've named her as the reservation manager and to take Gina's place. Angela has been with the authority since 2000. She's worked in the reservation office as a clerk and also as a truck coordinator before moving into the operations and communications center here at our Palmer Ave facility back in 2019, where she served as a coordinator there. So just wanted to have Angela come up, and she can say hello, and she has some big shoes to fill, but we have all the faith in Angela, that she'll do well in this new position. So,
Thank you. Angela, congratulations. We hope you have a terrifically successful and enjoyable career.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It also, again, a testimony that for the people and staff that work, they stay and they rise to different and higher positions. And we certainly, thank you for that and congratulate you on the appointment.
Thank you, and I appreciate the opportunity.
Okay, so next, I'm not done. I'd like to announce that Kurt Van Riper has been named our new Director of Information Technologies. Kurt's has a long association with the Steamship Authority, first working as a consultant with our MIS department for 17 years before joining the Steamship Authority as a full-time programmer and analyst in 1997. Kurt has developed numerous custom programs for us, technologies. He's overseen the outside vendors working in the contracts on various projects. So I'm pleased to announce that Kurt's accepted the position of director of the department, and look forward to moving ahead with improvements in our IT areas.
Hello. Welcome aboard again to the higher position. I'm glad somebody understands technology. I couldn't even get into the Zoom meeting this morning, so I think I need your cell phone number.
You're welcome to it.
Okay, so that was two promotions from within. I do have a new hire that I'd like to announce as well. So at the end of July, Director of Security, Larry Ferreira, retired after about 16 years of service to the authority. And in his place, we advertised, and Todd Falvey has joined us. He's a Northeastern graduate with a degree in criminal justice. He worked at the U.S. Department of Justice and then transitioned to Department of Homeland Security before his retirement earlier this summer. He has worked in the Southeast New England area to help develop a working knowledge of our operations and the partners that we deal with on the federal and state level. So welcome Todd, and wish him well in his new position as Director of Security. Hello, everyone.
How are you?
Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
I'm sure this is very awkward for you. It's not the best way to meet people, but live long, go get them. And we really appreciate the effort that you're going to put into this on our behalf. So thank you.
He's hit the ground running already. So great. And that's it for me.
Okay, it's 11:44. We need to take some does anybody have anything from the board before we take any public input? Okay. Sean, is there anybody with their hand up?
Yep.
Let me guess.
Yep.
Hi, good morning. This is Rich from the Emmy Times. A couple of questions, if I may. First one will be, I believe, for Mr. Davis, but whoever in the Steamship Authority is ready to field it, I'm ready to listen. And the question is whether or not staff, given the pandemic, consulted Tisbury officials before directing the Sea Streak vessel or recommending that the Sea Streak vessel use Vineyard Haven as a port en route to and from Nantucket.
No, again, the Sea Streak, there's times they're using Vineyard Haven right now during, with the weather conditions. So it's an ongoing operation when Oak Bluffs isn't available, that they use Vineyard Haven. So There were no discussions with anyone from Vineyard Haven.
Understood. I hope my point came through. Just the link to Nantucket as opposed to just using Vineyard Haven in general, not Vineyard Haven, New Bedford, or what it was before, New Bedford, Oak Bluffs, but the link to Nantucket, given the pandemic and actually given the spike in coronavirus cases on Nantucket.
So there is an inter-island service being run by Highline, and actually, I think C Streak is operating that on behalf of Highline at the moment. So, it's an ongoing, this time of year, they would normally be stopping in Vineyard Haven and proceeding on to Nantucket and doing the reverse on the way back.
Okay, thank you. My next question is whether or not there's some instrument or guarantee that the Commonwealth will dispense the funds necessary to cover the budget shortfall, or whether that's more or less a political promise or an administrative promise, but there is no instrument to back it up at this time.
It's part of the state's supplemental budget, so it's a law.
Okay, and thank you. And lastly, I heard in the description of the contract for the Oak Bluffs Pier that there was a clause for liquidated damages, and I'm curious if any recent ship contracts have also added that clause, or if they will going forward, or if there are plans to install that going forward in ship contracts.
Yes, we'd be, it depends upon the project.
So that possibility exists, say for perhaps the Eagle overhaul upcoming?
It is in that contract, yes.
Is that the first such contract to have that?
No, we've had liquidated damages in the past.
Okay, thank you.
That's all I've got, Mr. Malcolm.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the brevity of this meeting. We've kept it under 2 hours, as well as the substance. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. All in favor of the motion to adjourn? Roll call, please.
Randy, aye.
Wilson, aye.
Jones, aye.
And Malkin, aye. Thank you, staff, and thank you, board members. I appreciate this was a good, solid meeting. See you soon.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.